They say time is the enemy and no one can outrun. And for Lotus, sitting in 15th place, time could be up already. One loss would mathematically eliminate them from playoff contention, and they would want a win tonight. For C4H, the playoffs isn't just a dream, it's a reality, but that could be a reality, could be taken away tonight. If they lose, it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out street fight between these two desperate teams. It's C4H and Lotus tonight on this special edition of Owlet. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special Saturday night edition of Owlet. I am your caster, Hodahori, and today we will be featuring C4H and Lotus. Joining me today and my co-commentator will be Tangent. As we go into the game preview, we will be featuring these four maps tonight: Blizzard World, Ilios, Hanamura, and Gibraltar. And Tangent, going into this game, you had watched C4H in scrims yesterday. How did they do? And were you impressed with what you have seen?
Well, I gotta say, Hodo, it was really fun being able to go and watch them during their scrims. However, I will be honest, they were doing tryouts as well, so the teams were a bit mixed, so it was a hard time trying to get a read on who does what as well as how good they are. But I must say, I was impressed with a few of the members. I got a chance to see Chato on, I believe, his alternate account known as Anna, as well as Childish and a few others taking in and playing around. And it was a really great opportunity to see them in play, playing some tanks, playing some DPS. And I did get to see a couple people make some good plays. I got to see Subanai get some good bombs as Tracer, and it was a lot of fun overall. And I got to say, they are actually looking good coming into this game, in my opinion.
All right. So what do you think of the maps today? Blizzard World, Ilios, Hanamura, and Gibraltar. Any opinions on any of those maps that you have regarding the match today?
I gotta say, the maps themselves, I think, are a really great map pool, although I don't know the teams enough to say whether one or the other has an advantage on top of it. As I said before, I did get a chance to stop in and check on Click4Heads. However, I haven't had a chance at all to view any of Lotus, so I don't really want to make a decision on that yet. However, I gotta say, in my opinion, Blizzard World is going to be one of the key maps to the game today because it is such a, I want to say, contentious map within the map pool. A lot of people have very strong opinions on it. Personally, I find it to be very favorable after point A for the attackers. So we'll have to see how the defenders are going to be able to hold on that map.
All right, so let's take a look at the overall standings here of where both teams sort of lie. So C4H here just sitting right under the playoff cutoff with an 8-7 record, but they do have a +6 map differential. So a win today would jump them above both Oasis Esports and Los Muertos and stick them into 7th place, so puts them right into the playoff hunt. Whereas Lotus here today, 1-14, the cutoff here is 9, so they do have 9 games remaining here on their schedule, including this one, so they need to start winning or they're going to be mathematically eliminated here from the playoffs. And let's take a look at the form table here between the two teams. C4H here going 2-2 in their last 4 matches with WIG wins over Naptime and Vote Meme Today VMT, as they did lose both to MSXL and WSOL, and Lotus has just not had a great go at it, only winning 1 map in the last 12, that versus Naptime, and then they did have to forfeit against Los Muertos. So that is going to be looking really, really bad for them as they are going to be trying to desperate to get a win today. So let's look at the tail of the tape on what they are good at. And with Lotus here, King of the Hill is what they are going to be trying to win the map pool, they're going to try to win against C4H, whereas C4H here, they are a newly formed team that took over for Mayday midway through, I think it was stage 2. So therefore, records are sort of incomplete for C4H, but their records are pretty decent. 5-5, 5-4, 6-3 on Control, Escort, and Assault. Hybrid Escort, they are under 500, but that is nothing to be ashamed about. So just between the two of them, on these specific maps, Tangent, it looks like Ilios C4H has the most experience on, but Hanamura, Gibraltar, and Blizzard World, like you said, are going to probably be the most important maps here between the 3 teams. Anything you see stand out on any of the records or maybe the tail of the tapes that we saw between the 2 teams here?
Well, from what I was able to take a look at myself between the two teams, I noticed that C4H has more of a contention during their battles, and they're a lot closer to the other teams. Now, I'm not saying Lotus doesn't have a chance in this fight. I think they have very good records against some of the teams that they played against. However, I have noticed that theirs tend to go either one way or the other. So I would like to see down the line here how these fights are going to turn out, because I think either they're going to hit a high and they're going to make a really good fight for us today, or they might hit a low and we'll have to see how that goes.
All right. So that is Tangent here. We'll be joining him here in game, but for us, when we come back, it will be Blizzard World between C4H and Lotus. That will be the first map of the day between these two teams. Stay tuned. When we come back, Blizzard World will be your map. So when we get started here, both teams here just still filing into the lobby here, and when we come back, it will be Blizzard World. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Blizzard World, and we have a special announcement. It seems both teams here will be going 5v5. So the way that this is going to work is both teams will now actually be playing a man down. So we're going to see a little bit of unusual Overwatch here between the two teams. I think looks like the referee Alexandria has to make sure that the game is actually going to be started properly. So yeah, she has to sort of start it manually here to allow both teams to sort of go at it. But Tangent, this is your first cast here for Owlet. How excited are you to do a match that is very unusual right now?
I got to admit, Hodo, I am a bit concerned to see how this turns out, because it is something that I will personally have never really seen before. However, I am excited to see what some of the comps and changes that these guys can come up with to either compensate for the lacking player or generally to fill in. Maybe they will subtract the healer or an extra tank. I personally expect to see a lot less maybe on the tank side, because that's something they can take away from, as in the side tank.
Yeah, so hold on. It looks like Alexandria has to manually start it. So hold on, we'll just get back to the transition image here. And so we're going to be right back here as they sort of fix what's going on. She needs to manually start the 5v5 here, or she's going to take away a slot from either team. Either way, she wants to make sure that the map actually starts automatically when both teams are in, instead of having to go back to the lobby and just sort of starting the map manually. So when we come back here, we will be back into Blizzard World. Our referee is just sort of fixing this up as to what's going on. But you were saying that you're going to have to compensate for an extra player. Where would you actually take out that extra player from? Do you need a second support in a 5-man lineup, or would you take out a DPS and run double tank, and then keep the 2 supports and just keep 1 DPS? What do you think going into this match? What would your strategy be as a player slash coach if you're talking to either Click4Heads or Lotus, Tangent?
If I was in their place or if I was their coach, I personally would either remove the healer or the tank, in my opinion. Of course, you're going to need the main tank, and that is in a very important role. However, a lot of times, especially in quick play and in some comp matches, I've seen people forego the off tank, whether that be Diva, Roadhog, or whatnot, to better get more DPS out. Now, there's lots of factors that'll go into this as well, depending on what the enemy team is playing as well, because you don't know. But I
Mhm.
could definitely see them sticking with one main healer, like most of the Overwatch League and stuff do as well. Maybe they will pull Mercy or Moira and bring a more basic comp to the match.
Yeah, that's probably where they might go. But what I'm actually excited about is the amount of space that's going to be available for both teams. Now, with a
Welcome
lack
to
of an
Blizzard
attacker and
World.
the lack of a defender, there's just going to be a lot of places where teams are going to be able to go, and just be able to sort of do things that they're not going to be able to do here. So finally, here it looks like. Now, there we go. So
Yep.
30 seconds on the start here. So looks like it will be Lotus here on offense and Click4Heads here on defense. And there it is.
Comps are
So
coming in.
yeah,
They're solo healing.
they are solo healing, and looks like here. No, it actually looks like Click4Heads though going with the double healing, going with both the Zenyatta and the Mercy here. So they're going single DPS here with Nihao Brian actually going to be the single DPS and on a soldier at that. Very unusual.
I find it interesting that Subanai is taking over for the Zenyatta because what I saw from him playing in scrims last night, he tends to play a lot of their flanking DPS. So it's interesting to see him playing the flanking DPS killer on the opposite end of that spectrum there.
Yeah,
I
but
want to see how that's going to work out.
yeah, well, Zenyatta's a little death machine, though, right? I mean, like you've
Oh,
seen in the Overwatch League that Jonak basically turns Zenyatta into almost a third DPS in a 2-2-2 lineup, or even if they run single DPS with a triple tank, he becomes that sort of additional damage dealer that you're sort of looking for. So I'm wondering if that's what Subnai is actually going to be trying to do here for Click4Heads. But on the other side here, let's take a look at their comp. They're going double healer, but they're bringing out the Brigitte here with Scientess here on the Brigitte. I like this play, and going with the Pharmacy up in the air. They'll keep 2 up in the air and 3 on the ground, so there's not going to be a lot of ground support here from Lotus, but I like where they're going.
I like the smart choice of Cascade Queen bringing in the Mei into this composition due to the self-healing. So that will allow them to focus on both Reinhardt as the main tank as well as Pharah as their DPS.
Yeah, so therefore you've got a lot of sort of focus here from the teams as they sort of start off and are going down Main Street here, coming down into the middle, and it looks like C4H is actually going to be holding up on the high ground here, and it looks like Scientist and Claw Statue will be sort of moving in. They're not going to be able to get to them. It'll be the responsibility of Cheshire Cat here in the air to be able to sort of knock them down or maybe get to him here. I'm actually suggesting maybe Lotus should just go straight to the point. They have a lot of room here, and they don't really need to worry about it as Claw Statue sort of comes in with the charge. Doesn't really get anything because he gets countercharged as they end. Now Cheshire Cat's trying to get Nihao Brian here off the tie ground, but what a rocket there by Brian. Takes out Cheshire Cat in the air. Rez will come through right away. They don't actually stop it, so Cheshire Cat and Deluxe here are going to stay in the air, but the 3-man DPS lineup here on the ground has sort of gotten C4H here a little off their normal play. Claw Statue gets 2 as both Nihao Brian and Cheto both go down, and now it's a matter of just getting Kalut off the point here as Subnai actually gets taken out by Cheshire Cat. This is going to be a take here for Lotus.
Yes, Lotus seemed to very slowly but surely edge off Click4Heads off the point there, and it was very good as well because they managed to separate Click4Heads team right at the start as Kalut, especially, as well as their Mercy ended up getting pulled away from the initial fight.
Yeah, and with that, the way that this is going here, this is looking very good to start off here for Lotus at this 5v5. This sort of focused healing between the two healers, with both Deluxe focusing on Cheshire Cat and Scientist just focusing on Cloth Statue and the Mei, is just made it a lot simpler here for Lotus as they sort of push through. And now they're coming in through the choke here as they're trying to sort of focus on Kalut and try to get him down. When a big Earth Shatter comes down, huge Shatter comes down, takes out Cloth Statue here, but Kalut gets sort of stunned there in the middle, but no, kills are coming in as Cheshire Cats gets taken down by Shooty Burb. And now it looks like here Cheshire Cat's got res, but there is no tank here for Lotus. Remember, they were running.
And out comes the tact visor from Nihao to try and clean up the leftovers.
Yeah, Nihao comes in. That's going to end that fight here for Lotus. And now they're going to be choked here at the point. But they did get the payload through the doorway a little bit. They didn't get it too far. They're going to need to win this fight coming up. Cheshire Cat's got to be huge here. Try to use those rockets to sort of push back what's the remaining left of
I think
C4H.
the other thing to remember as well is the fact that ult economy is slowly and very surely tilting in the favor of Lotus right now. They have almost all their ults online. There's a huge shatter coming out from Cloth right now. And the rockets coming from Cheshire, but the Zenyatta protecting his team. Unfortunately, though, Shooty Bird does go down to that, and we'll have to see how they play from that for now.
Yeah, it looks like Cheshire Cat did what he needed to do, though, because all it is Kalut here on the point. They finally get him down, and that's going to end that defense there for C4H, as Lotus here looking pretty decent as they're sort of pushing through. Got to make sure that they stay close enough to the payload here, but this little sort of tight 5v5 is really working for them. Great comboing there with Cloth Statue and Cheshire Cat there on the ult were able to sort of knock back C4H as they're getting ready here for their second defense, and they're probably going to defend here right at the end. It looks like Kalut and Shooty Berber just sort of setting up right under the bridge, and now they're actually going to engage right away here onto the point. Oh, catches Cascade Queen there on the charge, and it's gone all wrong here for Lotus as they're going to have to back up. They lose Deluxe here, and it is going to be a reset here coming in for Lotus.
Yeah, that pick coming out from Nihao, especially the one at the beginning and the one at the end of that fight, proved to be very crucial picks for them, and they were able to deny the res from Cheeto coming into that fight, I noticed. And
yeah,
that was a very good play. Or sorry, the res coming in from Deluxe.
Yeah,
and that was a very smart play on their part, destroying the pharmacy first before the fight began, allowing them to not only take space from the high ground, but to also focus in, as well as the beautiful charge from Kalut to clean up the Mei very quickly.
Yeah, and that basically opened it up for the rest of the team there, as now it looks like they're going to be a little far away. They're going to probably let the payload sort of back up here a little bit, as the Mei looks like she's trying to flank onto the high ground, but Shooty Bird not allowing them in. Kalut comes in with a big Earth Shatter there, stops the charge of Cloth Statue.
However, it seems to be negated mostly by Scientesta's pre-rally there.
Yeah, very, very good stuff here, but now it looks like Cloth Statue's trapped behind the Mei wall there, and Nihao Brian comes in with it all, takes out two, and another Lotus reset coming here, and a team kill comes through. But with 2 minutes left to go, they still have time here, and Lotus still has a shot on this payload. They look like they had to blow all of their ults to defend that.
Yes, I'd agree with that. However, I have to say that was a beautiful ult from Nihao, because he actually pulled off a very well-timed flank and got behind them there. So, without wasting too many ults, they still maintained a support ult on both their side as well as Lotus' side. So we'll have to see how they use these ults in the coming fight to help them stay in this.
Yeah, and that's going to be super, super important here, as now the engage comes in here with Scientist right next to Cloth Statue. So they're going to try to sort of keep the pressure up here on Kalut, and a great
Kalut
wall.
Separated.
Yeah, great wall here by Kalut is separated up. They try to keep him up. That's not going to happen. But down goes the tank, and now Cloth Statue has to defend from the bomb here, but that's going to allow a little bit of time here for Click4Heads to reset. But now they're going to be pushing up. They want to get Shooty Burb down, frozen but not out. They weren't able to sort of finish it off, but this payload is moving. The Shooty Burb now trapped behind the wall just as Kalut comes in with a big, big charge there. Sends the Earth Shatter into the back. Yeah, but that's going to stop them in their tracks. Cheshire Cat takes out Nihao Brian, but in the background, it's Kalut doing the big work there. Great work by the tank there to stop that push in its tracks.
Shooty Bird also did a fantastic job of shutting down Cheshire midway through that fight as well with the ult. Although he was able to pick off Subanai very early with that, he managed to separate himself from the team, unfortunately, and Shooty Bird was able to capitalize on that and keep him off the fight, and the pharmacy was able to be shut down as well.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic there. Now with 20 seconds left, it looks like it's going to be a team flank going to the high ground here. So they need to get to the payload, and they need to start overtime here. They have about 10 seconds left. Charge
Cloud
comes in.
out.
Yeah, big charge by Kalut, but an Earth Shatter comes in. Doesn't really get anyone. Remember, they have to get to that point. There's nobody
I don't
here.
think they're going to be able to.
No, Kalut takes out 3, and that's going to be that, I think.
Cascade's trying to get around. That's it, folks.
That's it. And round 1 stops. They do not capture point B. The 5-man defense of C4H holds here before they are able to cap, so 1 point only for Lotus. So how are you liking this 5v5? I like this action. It's very focused.
It's very intriguing to see the difference in compositions and how they've been choosing. Originally, Lotus's composition seemed to be faring better against Click4Heads' composition in the way that they were more together, and oftentimes Click4Heads, Kalut, as well as Cheeto were caught out by themselves, and they took advantage of that, and that allowed them to get first point very quickly. However, I also noticed, though, later on that ended up hurting them because they weren't able to deny those longer range stuff like Nihao Brian bringing out from against the pharmacy, and might have been better if they had swapped off that composition a little bit sooner.
Yeah, I think what it was is, like, you remember when you're playing a hybrid map, you're basically playing two different games. You're playing King of the Hill and you're playing Escort at the same time, and sometimes certain comps just work for one but don't work for the other, and I think we saw that happen to Lotus, who was able to sort of cap point A fairly quickly, but then were just unable to use the Mei walls the way that they wanted to on the Escort phase of Blizzard World here, and it's just they just got stopped in their tracks and wasn't able to do anything they could. Now as they set up their defense here, that Mei is now gone for Lotus, as they're going for more a heavy sort of comp here with a Reinhardt and the Zarya with the double support, so they're going to be depending here more on the tanks. Cascade Queen on the Junkrat is going to be their spam DPS. I don't see any hit scan here, so maybe they're not thinking a Pharah is going to come out for Click4Heads.
I think, though, that their comp might work very well because of the fact that, actually, if you look at Click4Heads' composition right now, they have a full dive going, which I am excited to see in action due to the fact that they won't be having their 6th player, and they've chosen to forgo the Lucio in favor of an extra flanker type.
Yeah, which is a very interesting choice here. They decided to go with a Mercy instead of a Lucio, so it looks
very quickly taken the high ground as well.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to sort of figure out what they're running and which target to dive on. Subnai here looking for a flank, but it looks like that's exactly where Nihao Brian has gone. As he's sort of flanked on the soldier, he's immediately sort of focused on and pushed back, but that's allowed the team to go behind them and sort of try to take him from behind here. Nihao Brian takes out Scientist, and now it's a matter of whether or not they can hold out on the point. Subnai takes out Close Statue, and now it's slowly and surely coming. This is going to go to Click4Heads here. It's just a matter of time.
I have to say that was a very smart and very well executed play. As Nihao pulled them towards one direction, the rest of the team members managed to dive and allowed Tsubanai to go after both the supports as well as the back line.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty decent pincer play, using Nihao Brian there as a sort of bait to sort of get them out of the position that they wanted, is either get shot by the soldier and just get consistently getting knocked down, or go for him, see if you can take him out, and then get dived on from the back. Great stuff there by Click4Heads, and now it looks like the defense here by Lotus is set up right there in the choke. They do not want to get them through the door. Kalut immediately comes through as Cascade Queen takes out Subnai there in the back, so therefore the Reaper doing what they needed to do there. They're stalling Click4Heads here in the doorway. They do not want to let him out, but there is a ton of time here, over close to 5 minutes left on the clock, as Claw Statue here trying his best to take Kalut down, and Kalut does go down, so main tank down here for Click4Heads, and Subnai takes a fire strike right to the face, immediately going to get rezzed here, but they still are missing their tank as Subnai tries to get into the back here and sort of dislodge what is this defense here of Lotus as they're trying to push through. Notice the ult building up here for Lotus. A big Graviton here could sort of end the fight right away. They might want to save that for an oh crap moment, but oh crap is actually hit now as Claw Statue actually gets taken down. And look at this.
Nihao on the flank.
Nihao on the flank takes out both supports, and it is all Click4Heads here.
Yes, coming into this fight, you thought maybe Lotus was going to gain the advantage with all their ults. However, due to an early pick on Claw Statue, it seems like Click4Heads turned that fight on its head. You were expecting one thing to happen, and yet another happened instead. But it looks like this time around, Lotus is setting up for a Dragon Strike grab combo. We have to see how fast Cascade Queen will be able to get their ult up. But that payload is still moving, and it is close. They are probably going to have to pull their ults very soon.
They're going to have to get on that payload really soon because they're almost there. Meter 20 left, and a big Earth Shatter comes in from Kalut, and a Graviton into the back traps the rest of the team, so they're not able to sort of push it forward here as they're on their pretty much final stand here. The fight comes in, and Claw Statue gets res, so it's going to try to get Kalut down, but Kalut has got that pocket healing, and it's going to be a matter of making sure that they can sort of dislodge anybody. Can any kills come through here for Lotus to actually sort of get Click4Heads off the point? They're not going to be able to do it, and that is that. Click4Heads caps that point there. Lotus unable to stay on the point, and first blood goes to C4H.
Yes, indeed. That was a beautiful last fight, though, I gotta say. It was a very drawn-out thing, but if you noticed at the beginning of the fight there, at the end, Kalut was able to prevent the Shatter from doing what it needed to do, and the Diva Mech came out, which forced Claw Statue from capitalizing on his own ult as well as the rest of the team, which was a very impressive play in my opinion there.
No, it is very, very good. So it's going to be one of those things that'll be interesting because as we go through the maps, all of these games are going to be 5v5, and I've seen that the importance of the tanks here are super, super important, and that is going to be what probably will determine the wins here on all of these maps. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So when we come back here, going to take a little mini break, and when we come back, it will be Ilios, and we are 5v5 between Click4Heads here and Lotus. Stay tuned. We'll be back here in a couple minutes.
Could always use more heroes. Could always use more heroes.
敵を食らう。
The world could always use more heroes.
優が我が敵を食らう。
The world could always use more heroes.
優が我が敵を食らう。
could always use more heroes.
Hey guys, we're back. I'm Tangent, the new guy, and we're coming at you live from Ilios for map number 2, or map number 2 of this match.
Yeah. So it looks like both teams here are going to be set here. And Tangent, what do you think they're going to be coming out with? Because we're in Well right now, and that's going to be the map that we're going to be starting with. So normally people come out with Orisas and Roadhogs and Lucios here. Do you think you'll expect some of that here from Click4Heads or from Lotus?
Well, once again, we are having another 5v5 match, as well as the fact that this time around, Freckles is coming in for Scientessa on the side of Lotus, so we're probably going to see a few changes around. Once again, though, we do see the common thing coming out from Click4Heads. We have the Roadhog, we have the Orisa. Seems like they're going to forgo the Lucio, and they're going to do a double DPS this time. Meanwhile, on Lotus's side, they're going to do a triple DPS with a Roadhog and Mercy, which is a very, very interesting comp coming out from them, and I can't wait to see what they manage to pull off with that.
Well, it looks like they got you on the big okie doke because Cascade Queen just switched over to the Orisa, so it looks like pretty standard comp here, but single healers on both sides, as it looks like they're both going to go with the Mercies instead of the Lucios here. So single healer, double DPS is going to be the order of the day, and it'll be very interesting to see how both teams settle with this. I think Enviro kills are going to be huge here. Just sort of getting that into a 4v5 or a 3v5 with unresable players is going to be huge, as Cheshire Cat comes in on the pharmacy here, trying to just get a little bit of push and a little bit of ult charge, and immediately Freckles takes out Nihao Brian on the flank here on the right. Nihao Brian, they're going to have to burn their res here, as immediately the engager is on the well, as now here comes the heavy side of C4H, as Kalut is established himself on the corner. The mini grab does not get anybody, as they're trying to sort of pull people into the well, and Subknight goes big, taking out 2 kills now, and it looks like Lotus are going to have to back up here a little bit. They want to sort of stall as best they can, but they fall off the point, opting for a reset.
Honestly, coming into this, it could have been anybody's game, as well as the fact that we had Freckles getting a couple, I believe they got a pick early on there on Nihao, but he was able to get right back into this thanks to, once again, to the Mercy res. Now, the interesting thing that's coming out from this here is the fact that, once again, Mercy in the recent patches has lost 10 heals per second, I believe, coming off of that. So we're going to see a lot less healing coming out, so it's going to be very important what the Roadhogs do with their take a breather as well. And I noticed Clothes on Lotus's side playing a very dangerous game right near the edge of the well, while Click4Heads played a bit more passively.
Yeah, they're playing a little bit more passively, and now they've gone to the Reaper here, as Cheshire Cat, I think, is opting to go with the heavy in-the-face sort of DPS. And now the Bongo goes down here for C4H, as it looks like here they're going to be trying to sort of press their advantage and try to keep sort of Lotus off the point and try to keep him going around. And it looks like the Soldier's Visor here is going to be coming out. Nothing to really shoot at except for Cascade Queen's sort of barrier here, but essentially what they're doing is they're spamming a lot of this damage out and just not allowing them to come back onto point, as percentage ticks are building up. Cheshire Cat gets taken down, but it's a 1-for-1 trade as Claw Statue comes down, Cheshire comes down, and now that gives them the 4v5. There's no res coming out here on the side of C4H as the ult comes out here from Claw Statue, who takes out Nihao Brian. This is the chance here for Lotus. They're going to try to have to take out Kalut, but a res now finally coming in for Shooty Burb, as he now uses his ult to sort of push off members of Lotus. Freckles takes out Kalut, but the fight is still going on, and the control point is still with C4H. The Cheshire Cat here trying to finish off anybody they can. Freckles takes out Shadow, and now the point is finally starting to switch. It looks like C4H going to try to hold it to 99 if they can. No, they don't, as it looks like the point has switched, but it looks like here, oh, that mini grab there just missed, as Subnai actually takes out Cloth Statue, and the fight continues on here onto the point, but the advantage here now with Lotus, as they're able to take out the heavy tanks here of C4H, and now they're going to start to fall back. Nihao Brian has gone to the Reaper now, taking a little bit of the strategy out of Lotus as the fight continues. They get the switch, as Lotus is nowhere to be found here. They're behind the point. They're going to need to come back. 98 overtime is going to sound. Cheshire Cat takes out Nihao Brian, but Subnai here is going to zone out a lot of people trying to come back onto the point, and the Deadeye takes out 2. This fight continues, but it might be already over. Freckles takes out Shadow, as this fight won't end. Kalut with the Earth Shatter. Overtime ticks down. That's going to do it. Well goes to Click4Heads.
I have to say, coming into this fight, Lotus was looking very, very good as they rotated around and took it from him. However, very quickly, that advantage turned on its head and Click4Heads starting killing people. Although Lotus was able to take the point, it wasn't a very long point, and that resulted in them very quickly losing their members and giving the point control back to Click4Heads, and they were not able to maintain that. As well as the fact that Kalut, once again showing that he's a great main tank, playing very forward while not losing a lot of health, and he was able to directly hold that point back from the Orisa and the other members of the team.
Yeah. And as we go here into Ruins, I see no Widows on either side, so they're not going to be playing sort of the long game here. They're going to... Normally, teams here will put a Widow here on the top sides of each side of the map. So in order to try to get some early picks here, but
actually,
oh, it looks like Subnai will
pulled out the Widow.
Oh, last minute change there. I did not see it. So Subnai will be playing at range here, and he does get Cascade Queen. So down goes that. But immediately with the res up, and now the fight here is on the point. They've got to be super careful here, as Subnai will be far. But remember, they have the advantage on the point here. But no, Cheshire Cat actually gets taken out. But a good charge there takes out Muth, Nihao, Brian. So no Reapers here on the point. So it's a battle of tanks. So the Widow's not going to have that much of an advantage with this heavy lineup here.
Freckles coming up from behind to execute Subnai with the sneaky Tracer play. Now the fight is turning in Lotus's favor, and we're gonna have to see where this comes out. But Kalut once again with the big shatter, but Freckles is ignored by Nihao.
Oh my goodness, it's still going on here as now Cheshire takes out Kalut as the point starts to turn in the favor of Click4Heads. Click4Heads not getting onto the point here. They wanted to gather up, but they do sacrifice the percentage here. But Cloth Statue goes down with a charge comes in from Kalut to take out Cascade Queen. And this fight is over before it even started. Freckles here is going to have to jump ship and go back to meet the rest of his team up. It looks like Click4Heads finally has good establishment of the point.
Yeah, that team fight really went on for quite a while there. There's some really good plays, including Freckles coming up behind and getting Subnai while he wasn't paying attention, and Kalut's Earth Shatter that shut down the Roadhog on the point. Unfortunately, there were opportunities for Click4Heads to end that fight a lot sooner if they had been able to capitalize better on that. However, they once again were able to take it, and now the new team fight is about to begin, it looks like.
Yeah, and Freckles got taken out there before the team fight actually started. But a big Earth Shatter here coming in from Cascade Queen takes out Nihao Brian, but that I think will all be for naught. Yeah, all for naught here as Cheshire Cat now without any tanks. There's just nothing they can do about it. And Deluxe there with a gets charged, and that was huge play here by Kalut. More time going to be off the clock here. Cheshire Cat not being able to be a one-man army here, unfortunately, as the rest of Click4Heads here will jump back onto the point and wait for Lotus to engage.
Yes, Freckles seems to be going around again for another flank, but it looks like Nihao's waiting for him this time. We're waiting to see when the next team fight starts, but I have to admit, once again, it seems like Click4Heads' tank line, which, as we said before, is going to be one of the most important parts of this fight, are really putting the pressure on Kalut with the triple. Oh, he gets Freckles immediately. He's pushing him on back.
Yeah, and they're actually trying to do their best to not even let him here on the point. Deluxe gets Cheshire back up, but the fight is over. Subnai finishes off Claw Statue, and we're at 87% here. Cheshire Cat has to start making his way to the point because there's just nothing that they can do. Look at him sort of just bypass the tanks here. He's going to try to make it to the point and at least start overtime. That's not going to happen. There's nobody here left from Lotus. Time ticks down, and that's going to do it. Click4Heads there wins Ilios 2-0.
I gotta tell you, Hodo, this game right now is turning into something very interesting because of the fact that we're seeing right now the tank line being more important than ever due to the fact that most of them are going either 1 or 2 DPS and changing their entire thing around.
Yeah, and the thing about it is like it's an interesting sort of see because when you see this game, like tanks have become a little bit more important here than the DPS because of the way that the game plays out. So huge plays there by Kalut and Shooty Burb are just sort of outdoing the plays here by Cascade Queen and Claw Statue. And those big shatters coming in from Kalut were just so big. And it just opens it up for Sub9 to do the picks and for them to sort of finish it off here with a Reaper or even with the Widow there as they do it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Lotus adjusts. When we come back, it will be Hanamura 2CP 5v5. Going to be interesting to see. Stay tuned.
The world could always use more heroes.
Yuga 我が敵を食らう
The world could always use more heroes.
Yuga 我が敵を食らう
Hey guys, it's me, Tangent, once again. We're back. This time we're on Hanamura. We just coming out of a great game 2 where we saw Click4Heads take a 2-0 over Lotus. This time, however, once again, we're going to see a brand new form of comps with the 5v5, as well as we're going to see how these two teams decide to take on and tackle Hanamura.
Yeah, and Hanamura is going to be an interesting one. 5v5 Hanamura makes it a little difficult here because with 6v6, it seems to clutter the map a little bit. And now with a 5v5 here with the door choke and the sort of the window here up at the up on the right, it's going to be very interesting to see what they sort of plan for this, as it will be, I think, Lotus in red and Click4Heads here in blue. So Click4Heads will be defending first. And it looks like they're going to be defending here with a Ryan and a Roadhog. Very interesting.
Yes. And we have to make sure as well to highlight the fact that once again, we've had another substitution coming in from Lotus's side. This time we have YW Phoenix coming in for Deluxe as the healer. So we're going to have to see how that's going to affect this as well. I can't wait to see the tank battle coming out of this because the tank fighting at the gate is incredibly important on Hanamura. So we're going to see once again probably some big plays coming in from Clute as well as Cloth Statue, and that Reinhardt is going to be really important. As well as the difference we're probably going to see coming out from a Zarya versus a Roadhog. If, for example, Shooty Bear is able to land their hooks, that's going to be a huge impact for this team, and we have to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, Freckles though picking the Reaper here might be an excellent pick here, just to sort of counter Shooty Burb here, as they're going to wrap around the right, as it looks like they're going the long way onto the point, and you're going to see this lineup here from C4H here at the door, and they're going to have a huge advantage in this heavy lineup. And with the Brigitte here, Phoenix actually they're going to try to focus here on Kalut, who tries to charge out but gets charged into the rock and goes down. Here's the advantage, 4v5 here, and Shooty Burb here getting focused by the team as the Phoenix and Claw Statue here trying to get him down right away. Still alive here, hasn't taken him down yet, but they're already here on the point trying to knock out. It looks like Nihao Brian goes down, Cascade Queen goes down, so they lose their mercy here on the engage, but the advantage with Lotus as they are on the point just trying to sort of hold off the rest of the team. They got to make sure here that they get the rest of C4H down. As Shooty Burb here has gotten his ult already, but it looks like the rally comes out, but Claw Statue got sent off the edge. So, bad luck there. It's sort of Freckles went down too, and it looks like Click4Heads here are able to stabilize and reset, but they only give up about 58% here on the point.
Yes. Unfortunately for them, they had a beautiful start, but they just lost that battle of aggression once again to Click4Heads. Click4Heads did an excellent job of mitigating their time on point, as well as allowing Shooty to get back on to stall out that point with his ult as well. And the important thing coming into this, I think, is Lotus had a huge advantage with the Brigitte coming into this and using that to stun Kalut and prevent them from being able to move the way he wants to, as well as Freckles doing the damage. Once again, however, they are splitting up, and that tight-knit group that they needed to break through, Click4Heads' team is falling apart. Nihao pulling out the visor. He gets Mercy. He gets Brigitte. He gets the Reaper. He's got it, man. He's got a 3K right there. That is a beautiful play from him up on top. Not even contested. What do you think about that, Hodo?
Oh, Nihao Brian was huge there. He was huge. So he pulls out the ult right at the right time, takes out 3. The problem with this comp that Lotus has is there was nothing to challenge him there. Freckles was on a Reaper, so he's a short distance DPS target. So Nihao Brian, if he stays to the high ground and is able to sort of flank the way he's flanking, is just going to have a field day with this comp against Lotus. Lotus needs to find shelter, and they need to find it quick. And there was a Clute with a great flank there, hiding in, charging in, takes out Phoenix. They lose their Brigade right away, and a Dragon comes in. They're basically blowing all of their ults here, trying to subdue what's left of Lotus.
Another slam!
Kalute's going big, but now look at the ult advantage here. They do have Cheshire with the Graviton. They might have blown too much up in order to sort of defend here as they're going to fall back, but that's huge. Cascade Queen gets hooked, but it looks like it's forced Freckles to sort of defend her as they've come back here again. Everybody's ready. Graviton is going to win this fight if they can get a big one here. Cheshire Cat actually is going to hold it. It looks like they're going to go after Karut and try to surround him here. Remember, Nihao Brian still on the high ground. Rally comes in a little late here as Phoenix actually tries to get in onto the point, and it looks like the charge comes in. Kalut gets taken down. Nihao Brian here not going to be able to shoot into the point, only going to be from a specific angle. Graviton finally comes in, and a Reaper ult actually comes in, but nothing doing as the fight continues. Kalut here on the point with the Zarya and the Reaper, not going to be enough to take him down. It's just going to be Cheto and Nihao Brian here trying to finish off this point. 18 seconds left to go. Can Nihao Brian pull off a miracle? They're going to be... And he pulls out the visor here. Desperation doesn't get it. Cheto's the only one left. He's going to have to go for the res. Can't do it. Hiding behind the bell. Subnai actually has come back. He's going to return, and that's going to do it. That's going to get the point to Lotus.
Yes, they did a fantastic job of mitigating their ult there. I was earlier expecting some changes to come out from Freckles and the rest of them, and although his ult wasn't really effective in many ways because it was shut down by Shooty Bird, it was a great combination to get them in one place and be able to just rip apart the damage into the tank line there of Click4Heads. And now we're going to see them playing up on the top, of course coming in top right for them as usual, top left up here on the blue team.
And it looks like here that, yeah, they're going to be, they've actually gotten dislodged already here by this sort of in-your-face attacking lineup of Lotus. So they're trying to use this sort of mini death ball as they're going to charge through. They're going to head towards the back, and Subnai gets taken out. They are down to 4 here with the rally comes in. Great usage of the rally and a great shatter here. Catches 2, but
Kalut,
what a counter shatter! Oh my god, what a counter shatter there by Kalut. The rally comes down, and now Lotus starts coming down off their high. It looks like Phoenix here is going to get res, but it's not going to be enough. I think the spawn advantage here is going to be able to catch Lotus. It's going to be a matter of time. A rally now comes down from Brian as he's trying to sort of take Phoenix out. That's going to assure that the point is taken. A reset's going to have to come in here by Lotus.
Yeah, Lotus had a huge opportunity coming into this fight, and I think if they had been able to capitalize on it better, it would have gone their direction very quickly. However, Kalut once again with another huge earth shatter. We had Lotus not being able to mitigate that, and it allowed them to get a double, which shut down Lotus right away. However, I will say it was a very, very well executed initial push.
No, very good executed initial push. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get any percentage ticks off of that. They did have the kill early on and had the sort of man advantage, but it was great usage there of C4H on their ult, so that is allowing them. Look at this aggressiveness by Kalut, and the dragon now.
Here comes the dragon strike. It's a 2. It's gonna get him.
Yeah, it gets them. They knew they were in the hallway. There was no way they were going to defend it. Freckles here is in trouble. He's gonna need to try to get the hell out of there. Uses the ghost to sort of get out. Tries the charge. Actually, he's not going to make it. He's gonna
get straggled.
Yep, going to get staggered really, really badly here. But now here comes the rest of the team. If I'm C4H here, I know that they're going to be down 1. Maybe sort of go back and retreat and make sure that you start burning time off the clock. There's only 1:30 here left. So unfortunately, it's not going to be enough time here for Lotus. They're going to lose about an additional 5 seconds here, waiting for Freckles to come back.
Lotus appears to be trying to make the push though, because Freckles appears to be trying to flank along the right side of the map. However, ult advantage is about equal right now. However, Cloth and Phoenix are very close to there, so we'll have to see how the grab is used here. Oh, and Reaper's coming in from the back. Do they see him? Shooty Bird shuts it down though.
What a play there by the supports. But Lotus here with the advantage. Diva Bomb comes in, gotta make sure that they don't get anyone. They lose Cascade Queen. That is a huge, huge pick. No mercy here on the push. They're gonna lose half their healing, and this is going to be a win for C4H.
This much is over.
Yeah. C4H there getting the lucky bomb there, getting the mercy, and now
C4H, however, is getting aggressive, and they are trying to keep them locked down to the gates right now. We'll have to see how this turns out for them. This is a very aggressive move.
I like it, though, because with only 30 seconds off the clock, they know a pick can win them this fight. So all they need is 1 here, and then they can use their spawn advantage to just make it almost impossible for Lotus to come in and do anything. 17 seconds there.
Freckles has also swapped over to the Soldier, which is an interesting choice coming into this last few seconds. I think it's a little late, but we'll have to see if it makes a difference.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because he's going to try to stay off the point a little bit here.
Once again, he's separated out by Shooty. Mercy and Soldier separated out.
But now the fight here is on the point, and it looks like a dragon here will zone out the rest of Lotus. Freckles gets taken out by Shooty Burb, and now the fight is on. It looks like there's 3 people here on the point. 4 people here from Lotus.
Rally coming out.
Rally comes out. They're going to try to get at least a tick here. That's what they want. They need to...
Kalut's got the shatter. Kalut's got the shatter again, guys.
Be careful as the fight is going on, but it is going the way of Lotus, and now a rally comes out here by Phoenix. They need to get the Brigitte off. Overtime starts ticking down here, and Lotus has actually got the advantage. Looks like Subnai had to come down off his perch. Big Shatter there, only catches Claw Statue. He stays alive. Shadow here on the point. The Graviton gets the Mercy. Overtime ticks down. Is Lotus going to complete? Yes, they do. My goodness. What a fight.
That was a very good last fight there. I have to admit, I am highly surprised with how that fight turned out, because in the initial push of that fight, it looked like Click4Heads had the advantage and had separated them very well, but the ults came in and the shatters and stuff came in from Lotus's side first.
Yeah,
and it really turned that fight around on them.
Their ult usage on that final push was excellent by Lotus. Excellent, because they didn't overdo anything. They didn't blow them all at once. It was one of the things they were just basically counting down who would have the next ult in order to sort of take down anybody quickly. And that last Graviton, catching the Mercy, avoiding from her some just floating around and to kill additional seconds. It was big. It was big. Caught her up in the middle, killed her quickly, just get that time up. You know, with the overtime, the spawns take longer. You lose about 5 seconds additional time because it does take longer for you to come out. And good job there by Lotus to cap point 2 of Hanamura. So now, C4H here needs to get a complete on Hanamura to stay in the game. And if they can get some extra bonus time here, they could go for the win, but they'll need to complete Hanamura with a minute or more.
Yeah, well, we're seeing, once again, some interesting compositions coming out here. This time around, it's staying with the kind of standard comp for Click4Heads over here on blue team. We got Kalut on the Reinhardt, Clicky Bird on the Hog, pretty much the same that they were using on defense. But this time around, we have Freckles on the Bastion over on Lotus's team. And it seems like they're going to be playing the high ground hard. Most likely, we're going to probably be seeing an early rush from Click4Heads to the right side of the map and through the pagoda, and I'm curious to see how they're going to play around this Bastion with the limited that they have.
This is going to be interesting because I like that they're playing for the stall here because they know it's a time game for them now. So for Lotus, they need just to burn as much time as possible, and they're not even going to allow them to know that there's a Bastion here on the point, and with 5 people, a Bastion is going to be so much harder to sort of take out. So
that was a beautiful hook.
That was a beautiful
statue bringing them in.
Yeah, and it looks like here Phoenix goes down here, and they still have no idea that the Bastion is still in. As Phoenix sort of comes in, they're gonna let Freckles just sort of sit there and wait. I don't think anybody sees the Bastion yet as they're coming into the high ground. And oh, whoa! It looks like Kalut went for the charge, and he was up in the high ground. Now he's gonna see the Bastion, and then Nihal to the Bastion as Kalut got melted as he came onto the point. They know that the Bastion is there now, and they just can't sort of just jump in and do what they want. Shooty Burb here has backed off, but they did take out Claw Statue, so they are missing the Roadhog here as Freckles stays in the corner. Probably doesn't need to move here as they're going to have to come up with a strategy to break this sort of Bastion on the point hold. 2:56 here left on the clock. Shooty Burb here.
I think that we're going to probably see them try to rotate around, and either Kalut or Shooty Burb is going to try to grab and or charge the Bastion and try to take him out because they are sitting very tightly in that corner. Kalut has the best opportunity right now with the team distracting. He gets in there. He's going after him. They take him out. Shooty Bird, they're moving in. They want the space. Mercy's trying to get the reds off. They deny that though. Riptire coming in for Lotus. It's blocked by Kalut once again. The tank line is doing fantastic right now.
That was great core. Cloth goes off the point.
For a ride with gravity.
So that was an excellent play there by C4H. They come in and they were just sort of biding their time, making sure that they can get both tanks here onto the point, and they just sort of rushed Freckles and didn't allow him to sort of take down anybody. If it was one tank, Freckles would have been able to melt them, but both Shooty and Kalut came in and attacked him. Now they've actually positioned the Bastion up top, and it looks like the hook comes in, but it was on the Roadhog instead.
Mihal on the high ground with the tack visor. Kalut once again though. Shatterfest.
Yeah, and it looks like here they're on the point. They're gathering some percentage as they're going to have to come to Subnai and deal with him. Cascade Queen is the only person here on the point. He gets taken out, but
Dudonai gets out though.
Yeah.
Dudonai gets out. He pulled them down. That was a great play coming in from him, getting red team off that high ground, and now it's just Brigitte and Rat on point. Bastion's trying to make some space, but Dudonai and Nihal are not allowing him to keep that space. Reinhardt doesn't want to give up. Yeah, and here come the Dragons.
Oh!
From Dudonai, Nihal cleaning up the Rat. This looks like it's going to be it, folks. Can Lotus make the comeback?
I don't think so. There's not enough time. They
Team
got
kill.
it.
It's a team kill.
Yeah, they all got killed at the same time. That allowed them to build percentage point with over 5 minutes remaining here on the team. Look at the count up. 5:04 here for C4H.
And they just have to take one tick from point A
Yeah, so
to
Lotus,
win.
all they can do is play for the draw, and that's not going to help them here. C4H is going to take this series, unfortunately, because even if they draw, the amount of points that Lotus could get would be a win on Gibraltar here at the very end. So the series here now officially goes to Click4Heads as they take the win. They're now going to be trying for points here because remember, point differential for the playoffs is huge, and Click4Heads has that sort of advantage. They are at a +6, so they're able to say maybe they could even jump and get higher and maybe even get 6th place here, jump up their contenders here on the table with a 4-0 win here over Lotus. So they're going to be going for wins on all of the maps as they're going to be trying for their next offensive push here.
Yeah, I think from looking, as I said before, I'm brand new to the group, and I must say it is an excellent group that I've been allowed to be a part of here, and I really appreciate the opportunity. But from looking at the charts and stuff, this is an opportunity for Click4Heads to get a lot more space to get them into the playoffs, because not only are they crossing that threshold, but if they do very well here and take that map differential up, they will get some really big legroom that they can work with later on.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what they're going to be looking forward here. So it looks like
Ooh,
some
Nihao in the background playing around with the Sombra this time.
So it looks like here, what are they doing? They're going to be waiting here at the point. Looks like some switches. Maybe what they were doing is they were using to scout with the Sombra to figure out what they wanted to do. Sombra's now going to come back, and now they're going to be attacking with what they're like. Very smart here by Click4Heads. It must have been one of those things that they're looking to just counter them and get this over with. And they've decided with the going with the pharmacy. Cascade Queen a little confused as to what was going on there.
Very interesting to see them pull that trick now that with Sombra with the invisible stealth. That is an amazing sneak play there that they can take the little thing and figure out what they want to do. Ni, however, switching back to the soldier, I was looking forward to seeing him on the Sombra. I'm not going to lie, Hodo, but I think this is going to be really good. Cascade is in trouble with the dive comp, separating her from the rest of her team. They are down when it's now a 4v5. The Farah's trying to push back. Oh no! Freckles goes down. DPS is out for Lotus.
Yeah, and this is going to be it. I think this is going to be the end for Lotus here on this point. They're just not going to be able to come back.
They got him cornered. They got him cornered, Hodo.
It's over.
God, it's over. It's over.
Yep, and that's going to do it.
That was a beautiful play. I must say, I want to give props out to Nihao and Click4Heads for doing that Sombra play. That was an amazing use of the new stealth, in my opinion.
Yeah, that type of play, though, gives a huge advantage to the offensive team, especially on a place like Hanamura. So take note, folks. Remember, if you don't know what a team is going to run, you can actually run a scout up there, find out what they're going to, and then run a counter comp against what you're going to be playing against, and it's going to give you a huge advantage. So way to go there for Click4Heads, and they're going to be able to basically, they're going to be able to take a 3-0 win, a 3-0 lead here into Gibraltar, and basically they're going to be able to practice, essentially. So Gibraltar, we might see a little weird comp out for them. This is their time to actually sort of flex and be able to sort of try out new things with the maps already won here. But when we come back, it will be Gibraltar. It will be the final map here on this special Saturday night edition of Owlet. So stay tuned.
Before we go, Hodo,
Yeah.
I do want to highlight the fact that the Sombra strat really only worked for Click4Heads since they had so much time on the clock and such a mediocre thing that they had to grab. It's not something you can always use.
Well, you have to
be careful.
You're also right about the fact that they were surprised by a Bastion on that initial push, and I think one of the reasons is they did not want to get captured. They didn't want to get surprised again, and they pulled the Sombra strat because of that. They didn't want to get stalled, because the whole thing is that if you let them develop ults, God knows what'll happen there on the final point.
Very true.
So it looks like they're switching colors here. We'll be right back. It will be Gibraltar for our final point. Click4Heads here leading Lotus 3-0.
が敵を食らう
The world could always use more heroes.
優雅我が敵を食らう
The world could always use more heroes.
我が敵を食らう
Camera 1. Ah,
All right, we are back, and we are put at the at the rocket ship. I've asked this question many a times when I cast. Why is it always at the end? And I think Tangent, you're asking the same thing, right? It's
yeah, I'm like, fucking hell, mate. Why am I at this end of the map when the fight's going on at the other end?
yeah. So the offensive end is of course starts in Winston's little cave. So, but we start here at the rocket ship as we sort of come through. Childish actually is.
Excuse you, Hodo. It's a scientist laboratory because he is a scientist.
Oh, excuse me, a scientist laboratory, not a cave. Yes, he's an animal, but he's a scientist. I'm sorry. So it looks like here on the attack, it will be. Oh, it'll be Click4Heads here on the attack, and it looks like they're going dive here, Tangent. So it'd be interesting because dive is usually the type of usually sort of go that sort of formation here at the beginning.
Both teams are going dive. It's up to see what Cheshire picks left, if they're going to get into a Widow duel or not, but it's going to be interesting to see how they play on this map with that composition.
Yeah, a dive defense is a little unusual, but I can actually see why. It provides the mobility that they want. Looks like Cascade Queen is actually switching to the Ana instead, and Freckles will go, I think, stay to the...
Nope, onto the Zen.
To the Zen, it looks like here. Maybe that Discord does help with the DPS here, so it'll just really depend on what Cheshire sort of picks. With 10 seconds left to go, Cheshire coming out.
Cheshire might be AFK. Oh, nope, we got a Pharah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting pick. That's a last-minute pick, though, so they're going to have a delay coming into this. Pharah is out. This is going to provide a huge opportunity for Click4Heads right off the start.
Yeah, and it looks like
they do with it.
And it looks like they're going to come directly onto the high ground.
They're not going for the payload, so this means that advantage that they might have had for a quick push there is going. But battle is really raging on right now in the top. Shooty keeping them in. We'll have to see who drops first. Kaluk goes down first.
Yeah, and he does.
Gonna come out.
And he does, but the res comes out and Subnight DMX Freckles, so that is going to be interesting there. So
Subnight with the headshot and Kaluk finishing off. It seems like this time around, Click4Heads is going to take the advantage once again, and they're going to have a nice, easy push for the next little bit.
Yeah, they're going hyper-aggressive here. They're just not allowing any room here for Lotus to sort of do what they want to do. Freckles has to come off the high ground here, but she's the only one left here in that Diva. They're going to get pushed up as the payload here. Subnai is actually just going to be on the payload by himself, and now it looks like the rest of Click4Heads here are just going to be pushing on. Look at that, a Winston ult here into the back, just trying to prevent...
Lotus got straggled.
Yeah,
very badly, coming back into this over and over. And it looks like once again, Click4Heads is tearing them apart while Subnai is just chilling on the payload. He's like, he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, they don't need me up there.
Yeah, and it looks like here, with these kills, they're going to push them all the way back. Claw Statue and Cheshire Cat being taken out at the end, and poor Freckles here got sort of staggered here into the wrong area, so they're going to get really staggered up, and this defense that's going to need to set up here for Lotus is not going to have time or players to set up correctly unless they're able to sort of do anything about Click4Heads. But it looks like Click4Heads here has stopped their aggressive push finally, and they've positioned themselves on top of the
Unfortunately,
spaceship.
as well, Gibraltar is a very important role map on this team. Comp. It is very important, especially on point B, for you to be able to roll the team, but once again, it seems like Click4Heads is just slowly but surely killing one at a time and making their way out. Cloth, however, is able to take out Niao, but once again, Phoenix is dropped. That's going to go to the Mercy. That is going to put them at a huge disadvantage here coming in because the Res is back out, Nihao's back up, the mech is down, but they're just going to walk right on in here, it seems.
Yeah, and it looks like they're getting the kills that they need. Cascade Queen goes down too. The fight still continues here onto the point. Claw Statue trying his best to sort of stall this out by himself. Phoenix actually gets Cascade Queen up, and now Cheshire Cat here is now 1v5 onto the point. No, looks like Cascade Queen and Phoenix here trying to sort of help him out as best they can.
So the tanks are separated from the healers, and out comes the Zen, or it seems like they might be pushing them back. Lotus had an opportunity thanks to that bomb, and it seems like that's going to allow them to stabilize here.
Yeah, and it looks like here with Kalut into the back, trying to work his magic. Subnai, though, with a big kill here onto Phoenix, but this fight might already be over as they're just basically cleaning up the rest of Click4Heads.
This gives a good opportunity, though, for Click4Heads to reset. Unfortunately, however, as I said before, and I was proven wrong, point B is where you want to have a strong hold. Point B is where you can really hold and take down that timer, and they have done a fantastic job of being able to retake it from Click4Heads, and the huge advantage they had in both staggers and numbers. So we'll have to see how they play it. It looks like they're going to take the high ground here and move in for a flank with the tanks.
Yeah, I like this play. I like this play because there's just really only nobody. The person that's going to be able to have to take them down is Freckles here. He's going to be the only one, along with the Winston, to be able to get up there. But Freckles gets demeched right away, and Kalut takes out Cascade Queen. The fight on the ground here is not going the way that Click4Heads, that Lotus wants it to go. But Cascade Queen gets res back up. The payload is almost there.
Cascade is in danger right off the start, though. I don't think he's going to get very far. Winston wants to smack. Oh, no, it's a bitch slap from the Winston.
Oh, that's going to be it, though. Freckles gets demeched, and point B will go here for Click4Heads.
That was a very smart play coming out from them, especially because of the fact that once you take out Freckles from Team Lotus, the thing is there is no one on Lotus's team who can properly contest Subnai on the Widow. Cloth is the only one, and at that point, he's going to be busy with the dive coming in from Kalut and Shooty Burb.
Yep. And then looks like here they're going to set up where you want to, sort of at the top of the hill. Claw Statue and the rest of the team there sort of set up right there in the back, as it looks like Kalut was trying to get in the back and maybe mess with the supports here. Dives back, gets the assault, and Diva Bomb here right onto the point. That's going to get blocked by the spaceship. So unfortunately, that's not going to be able to get anyone. Subknight does get dived on and killed by Claw Statue. And now Lotus
got caught out.
Yeah, Lotus looking like pretty good here with 2 kills. But a bomb takes out Freckles. And it looks like here, Click4Heads here is able to sort of turn it around. Cheshire was not able to sort of get anybody there in the back, as now the aggressiveness from Click4Heads here showing its head, as Cheshire looks like he's going to have to back up. Freckles finally comes.
He's caught out of position as well.
Yeah.
This is not looking good.
And
keep Phoenix off the residence. Oh no, Student with the headshot. This is looking like Freckles gets knocked off the map.
And it looks like the rest of Lotus is going to be stuck in the doorway. Finally, Claw Statue comes out, ulting, trying to do his best. He gets taken out. Cascade Queen comes out on the Brigitte to just store out. And looks like an ult there by Nihao Brian. I was going to say it was a Lucio. It's a Reaper ult. And just kills just keep coming the way of Click4Heads. They are clicking Diva Bomb here up at the top, trying to zone anybody they get.
Oh! Goes a little too far.
And that's going to do it. Click4Heads there captures point C. The scientist gets blown up in a huge experiment on the point. What happens when a reactor
I'm pretty sure Winston was created from a radioactive explosion in the first place. So if he gets hit by another one, does he turn into a Super Winston?
Oh, well, that's what happens when he rages, right? That's the Super
maybe.
Winston.
I don't know. So, okay, new feature Overwatch from Michael 2. When Winston gets hit by, a Diva Bomb, he turns into his ult instantly without charging.
So there is your completion there by Click4Heads. They do it with 2:12 left in the time bank, and Lotus
That's
here.
A respectable time as well.
Oh, it's beyond respectable. That is excellent.
Really on Gibraltar.
that is excellent time. So Gibraltar, you get stalled a lot. Even Click4Heads got stalled a little bit here on point 2, which I think is honestly one of the hardest points to attack in all of Overwatch, because.
And it appears we're going to be seeing a triple tank coming from Lotus here with the Bastion, so they're probably going to try to pirate ship this in some format here.
I'd be interested in seeing if Cascade Queen will just come out on a healer, or they come out with quad tanks and just try to protect Freckles as best as they can.
They have chosen Mercy. It's a respectable choice. You still want to be able to keep your healers up, because tanks require a lot of healing in the first place. I almost think they might be better, however, going with an Ana in this case, because of the fact that with Mercy's recent reduced healing, the Valk is about the only way that you're going to be able to give enough healing to your entire tank squad there.
Well,
the lack of a second healer.
With this sort of heavy lineup too, an Ana would be really, really easy to sort of build your ult up super, super quick, and you could be running around with a Reinhardt or a Zarya on Nano for half the time, just because of the way that this is set up. But they're not going to do that here. They're going to go with a double support with the Brigitte here as the other support. So they're going to run tight, and they're going to run Freckles here on the payload. So they're going to try to sort of shield
It'll
him.
be interesting to see if Click4Heads is going to be able to prevent them from getting on, because Bastion is Winston's worst nightmare. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Oh no! Right off the start. Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was not good there. Freckles was unable to sort of establish himself on the payload, so they were able to sort of click him from far away. Great job there by Subnai to take him out. But that was a consequence of the fact that they dropped the shield really right onto the payload, and the Bastion wasn't able to sort of do anything.
The other important thing to remember as well is the fact that during that fight, Kloss had to get a bit more aggressive to prevent them from being right up next to him, and I think he should have maintained that shield a bit more. I noticed it dropped a few times during the fight, and that allowed for Sunai to just go to work on the Bastion from up on high.
And now you see Freckles going to the Widow here. Gonna try to take that duel with Subnai. It's gonna be very interesting. Claw Statue here is not gonna go to the payload, but going up instead. Oh, Freckles wins that duel. Look at that.
Are we gonna see the res come in from Cheto though? But unfortunately, it looks like they're gonna go for it. It looks like they're gonna force them off and go for the res. That is a beautiful play coming out from Kalut and Cheto to knock them right back down. And it looks like they're going to get aggressive here. This allows Kalut to be a lot more aggressive as well. Cloth is out on his own. They want to take advantage of that too. And we're going to have to see what happens here. Brigida's Phoenix is trying to keep him back. There comes the Earthshatter. He doesn't get much with it. He gets Nihao, but Nihao is easily protected by his teammate. Kalut once again going off on his monkey.
Yeah, and all the kills going the way of Click4Heads here, as it looks like Lotus is going to have to fall back into the spawn again. 2 minutes here left on the clock.
And once again, Freckles gets staggered there, unfortunately. So there's going to be an extra few seconds where they are not able to do it. 2 minutes are now on the clock, and Click4Heads once again just showing that aggressive nature of theirs and really, really pushing once they get that kill, which is really good.
Yeah.
Really well thought out and really well played.
Yeah, the thing about it is with these reduced player comps, like, you know, with 5v5, one kill is humongous. It's gigantic. So if you can use that aggression to sort of push up.
Is it humongous? Is it gigantic?
It's gigantic. It's humongous. It's very Trumpy.
It's huge!
And now they're getting a lot of push here onto the point, but a huge
Nihao once again with his ult. He's not going to get much. He's going to charge up. Or, sorry, Cheshire, who's on the Zarya. But he's going in. He wants that. He wants the Zarya dead. He's pulling out though.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to try again here as the reset sort of like repositioning.
With the charge on Cheto.
Big kill there. Big kill. No mercy here is going to give the huge advantage here to Lotus, and finally they're going to get the push that they've wanted since the beginning of this fight. A reset has to come in here for Click4Heads.
Freckles on a Sombra who is just tormenting the Diva right now. That's going to be a big stagger for them if they're able to kill her.
And they do.
Shooty Bird went back though, so I am intrigued to see if they're going to go for a stall and get the res up. They are. They get the res off. That is a very well thought out play in their part.
And it looks like
it.
Oh, big shatter here onto the point.
Shatter coming from Cloth.
And it looks like the fight now is on the point. Nihao Brian is going to be.
It looks like the fight is turning very quickly in Lotus' favor.
Yeah, it is, but they need to get that Reaper down because that Reaper can do a tremendous amount of damage to these tanks. Graviton comes in, catches both Kalut, Shooty Bib, and the Reaper, but the kills have been actually going the way of Lotus, and I was saying that Nihao Brian was able to survive all of that.
Gabe might be going for the res. No? Does she not have it? Oh, unfortunately she might have missed the opportunity. Freckles is the only one on point. It looks like it's coming up Click4Heads here.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be coming up Click4Heads.
And Brian actually finishes off the point here. 7 seconds left on the clock. They need to get to the point to start overtime.
Going to try for a bum rush. Can he get there?
No, they're a little too far out there. No, Phoenix starts it.
Gets on in time though. Oh no, Brian's got the ult. Then Phoenix is taking down. This is just a matter of time now, folks. They just gotta take him down one at a time. We'll have to see. Now Cheshire is by himself. The stagger here is unfortunately real, folks. Cloth may have gone just a bit too far at the start there, and I think that's gonna cost them.
And that is going to be that. Click4Heads wins this match over Lotus 4-0. And good job there by Click4Heads on that defense there on Gibraltar. Just their aggressiveness was really what really won them that fight there at the end. They were able to sort of push on Lotus and just basically not allow them to get anywhere. This sort of 2-minute hold here at their spawn pretty much was just really did in Lotus.
They really locked them down as well and prevented them from having an option game. They had to make a lot of swaps, which resulted in a lot of loss of their ults as well, which in the long run makes it very difficult for Lotus to be able to get out of that situation because of the fact that they were constantly having to swap. They were not able to keep their ult charges very high, and they weren't able to make very big impacts with said ults.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes it's just you just sort of have to go in there and use your ults to get yourself out of the mess that you're in. And unfortunately, with the quick switches where they were going for the counters, they didn't have the ult advantage, and the ult advantage was strictly in the hand for Click4Heads, and they would come in with an ult and be able to wipe people out. Unfortunately, Lotus, I think, with this loss, mathematically are eliminated from the playoffs. I'm pretty sure that is that because they will only have 8 matches left to go, 9 wins then, but they got to overcome a differential. If you think they're over -20 or -30. So unfortunately for Lotus, the playoffs might not necessarily be in their future even if they were to win out. Click4Heads though, great job with this win. 4-0 gives them an additional +4, so that puts them at +10. So they'll be jumping up the rankings here with that sort of win differential that is super, super important in here in Owlet. We saw Shooty Burb get 10 votes here from everybody in the game. Who is your MVP of the match here, Tangent?
So I think overall, a lot of people did fantastic in it, and I have to say that out of the entire thing, I think mine would either have to go to Sunai or Kalut, but I'm going to go with Kalut on this one because his plays were amazing and very quintessentially important to them winning this game. He was aggressive when he needed to be aggressive. He was very passive when he needed to be passive as well, and he really made each and every ult count. He kept getting those quads and those 3 earth shatters and stuff like that. Thankfully, none of them just hit the environment and stopped working, but you know, he did an amazing job, and I really got to give him credit. He's my MVP of tonight.
Fantastic. I'm with you there. 2 for 2 there on Kalut. Fantastic play here for Click4Heads. But let's give a shout out here for Tangent on his first ever cast here for Owlet. Good job, my man. You did a fantastic job here playing a little bit of color, a little bit of play-by-play there at the end. But we're going to hear more of this man through the end of Stage 3 and the beginning of Stage 4. He's going to be casting for us today, and this was his sort of debut to the big stage. So everybody in chat, give him a shout out. He did a great job today. But that's going to do it for us here. For Tangent and for Alexandera, who was our referee today in this match. It is a 4-0 win here for Click4Heads over Team Lotus. Click4Heads jumps up the rankings and gets themselves into the playoff places. Can they maintain that going into Sunday? Week 3 starts tomorrow, folks. Check your local listings as to what games are going to be on which channel. So for Tangent, I am Hodohori, and for Alexandera, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
We will see you next time.